This is bad. This situation is, it's getting a little out of hand. And over at our main cabin, our starter area, yeah, this is looking a little pitiful. There is no organization. There's this guy over here, which, yeah, I don't even remember putting this guy up. The floor is missing because I needed stone, and it even got so bad that I started stealing the indicator blocks because I ran out of them in storage. And yeah, this system is using the dropper system. It basically just shoots the items up and down, but this is way too slow. We're not able to keep up, and it's way too laggy, so I don't want to use this. But yeah, this is unacceptable. I have shulkers and Chestmonsters all over the server, and I'm losing so much time going through all the different blocks, and I can't stand it anymore. I'm starting to go crazy. We need to figure out storage immediately. And that is also something I talked to Damon about. Since we are both working on a lot of projects together, collabing on a lot of things, it made sense to throw our storage together. That way we both can kind of contribute to the project, and then we can both use the sorter, which will be completely automatic and very nice to use. Ideally, I wanted to have the sorter system in our main area over here in Critterfell. However, the server is a little bit strict when it comes to lag, especially storage and stuff like that. And since I also want to play around with a lot of mobs and entities and stuff like that, I think it will be best if we keep the sorter system in an area where there's not going to be a lot of players, just so we can minimize on lag and keep that a little bit more efficient. So, I've already gone ahead and started working on that. Bonjour, it's me from the future. Well, technically the present, but I mean, if you're watching this, then it's the past, but technically the past, present, future are all interconnecting parts of the same dimension, but I mean, that's assuming that time is part. Whatever. What I'm trying to say is I recorded these clips a while ago, so there's going to be a little bit of a time jump. That's why the GUI might look a little bit weird, and this is also back when we still had access to fly vouchers. So yeah. Alright, back to the video. I started a new secret project, and don't say anything. Alright, I know I keep making new projects and abandoning the old ones. We're gonna get to it, but this is important. Ignore that guy. But over here we have our redstone and farming district. We actually have 3 main farming districts. We have the burrow, which is the underground one. We have the witch farm, which I will show you guys that in a second. And we have this place in the end. And yeah, for our underground version, I mean, we don't have that much space because we have to dig a lot. For the witch hut, that's going to be a few farms over there, mostly manual. But I am going to be separating our farms in these 3 areas, also so we can separate lag, so one place is not super laggy. This place, however, is different because unlike the other areas, which are going to be pretty manual, this is fully automatic. So let's start small first. Let's start in the central area. This is our RAM tower, and it does run on binary. This is not my design. I forget the guy's name. I will put that in text on the screen now, as well as in the description below. However, yeah, right now it's just cycling through the different programs. We have 8 cells in total. So yeah, these 3 blocks is a cell, this 3 is a cell, cell, so 8 in total. And we are able to give it a specific binary code to be stored in each of the cells. And how we're doing that is right here. We are locking repeaters. And by locking repeaters, as you can see, yeah, this one's deactivated while this one's activated. This one's activated and this one's activated. We are able to lock them and store information. So even though this is no longer getting powered by this guy right here, the information, the signal, is still stored. And by utilizing this, we are able to store information in Minecraft. And this tower in particular has 64 bits, I believe. Yeah, Yeah, 64 bits. So this is pretty good. This is pretty hefty. This should be enough to do everything we want to do, but this is going to be involved in phase 2. There's going to be 3 main phases for this base. So, for example, if we deactivate this, yeah, because right now it's just a clock, you can see if we go ahead and activate cell 1, you can see these lights are the stored inputs that we have. Now let's say we want to rewrite this. Actually, we're going to do it with the 8th one, because then we can see that better from the back. Alright, so we have this one, and this one, so 3 in total. So let's go ahead and rewrite this real quick. So yeah, we're just going to turn this off, and then we're going to come through and let's say we do cell 1, we skip 2, skip 4, we can do 8, we can do 16, skip 32, skip 64, and do 128. So this is the code we want to send in then. So we can go ahead and save this to cell 8, circuit 8, by just going ahead and clicking this. And then yeah, we can depower it. And yeah, then we can also go ahead and depower the input since it is now saved. So now if we go ahead and read this, you'll see exactly what we put in is saved. And this is awesome. We have RAM in Minecraft. This is going to be very important, like I said, for phase 2. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our bulk storage. This design, yeah, as you saw in the time lapse, we built up a design and then we had to tear it down because it didn't work, which was very, very sad. I have spent weeks trying to design stuff, taking inspiration from other people, trying to come up with my own design with binary encoders and stuff like that, and it's just not working, especially since the 1.20 redstone change. Things have dramatically changed the way that redstone interacts with one another. But this monstrosity of a build is actually pretty straightforward. I did take inspiration from, yeah, one guy who created this section of the farm. I'll go ahead and put his name up on screen and in the description down below. Let's start from the beginning. So this is our bulk storage. So this is going to be both for the automated farms that request items from bulk storage, but it's also going to be our personal bulk storage. Like for example, deep slate. We can't really craft anything with this, but we can go ahead and store it here regardless. So what happens when a farm is requesting materials? For example, if it's requiring bone meal, or if we have a redstone factory, which we will, what if it requires stone and sticks and redstone and quartz and all that good stuff? Well, we can actually call those items using a minecart. So we can actually input a special key. We're going to have several keys kind of representing the different I forgot I did that. We're going to have different keys representing the different farms in this area, and these keys are then going to be named. So whenever a minecart comes in requesting items, it's going to fall down this tower, and all this redstone is doing is basically just queuing up different minecarts so we don't have multiple minecarts going in the system. The minecart is then going to travel down here, and it's going to try to place its key in one of these hoppers, which are going to be filled. It's just going to be like a normal item filter. And whenever it finds one that matches, it's going to drop it down. And what's going to happen is, we can actually show this. Do I have, I think I need 18 blocks. 16, 17, 18. Yeah. Alright, so whenever an item is dropped, it's going to deactivate this, which is going to allow one item to fall back down. The observer see that, and it's going to pull out one of these rails. And we can see that in action if we just drop one more in. Yeah, just like that. The item lands down here for the minecart hopper to pick it back up, and this rail gets pulled back. And because this soul sand is 1 pixel shorter than an average block, the minecart's going to sink through it and glitch onto this bottom rail, which goes over here in front of this hopper, and this is where our shulkers are going to be stored, and it's going to pick up 1 shulker. It's then going to travel back, glitch up onto this redstone line right here, and it's going to then go back and either come up here and continue off back to the farm to drop off the materials, or if the minecart's not able to find the item in this section, it's then going to travel on this rail and go all the way to the other side where we have the same exact setup. Now there is some more logic in this, like for example, whenever the minecart picks up an item, it's detected here, and it's going to, pulse this observer, which is going to hit this relay line, this reset line, and that's just going to send a signal all the way up here, and activate this section. So this quartz section right here, this diagonal line, all this is doing is locking the hoppers, since most lag from storage system comes from the hoppers trying to read everything in the chest above it. So all the hoppers are always locked, so we can minimize on lag. So whenever an item comes in, it's going to go ahead and depower this for a little bit, so all the items can trickle in, and then it's going to re-lock itself. So that is the pickup system. Now, for disposing of items, for inputting items, we have two systems for doing that. We have the player involved one, which is a little bit more, takes a little bit of work, but I mean, that's fine. This is a private claim, which means only me, Damon, and Scott have access to this, so I don't really care that it's a little bit more manual. But like, for example, we have stone down here. Actually, I don't want that because it's not full. We can also, click this and it's gonna break it, and all the items should appear up here. Bonjour. Nice. Now we're going to use a full shulker for this test, which, why can I click it? Uh-oh, I'm lagging out. Alright, so now we have a full shulker of stone. So if we want to place this into the bulk storage, we just go ahead and activate the cell. And what this is going to do, can we see it from this side actually? It's kind of hard to see. Basically what's going to happen, I'm not prepared. Let's just activate this cell so you guys can see it. What's going to happen is it's just going to push this bulb up, which sends a signal down this line, inverts it, and as you can see, this comparator is now unlocked, which means that our sorter, which is the hopper right here, is going to be unlocked and can drag items down. We also don't have typical impulse SV item sorters because that also causes a little bit of lag. So this way we're just using this method of locking, which is more efficient in my opinion. So we now have this one selected. This light also lights up. If you can see, if we depower this, this turns off. And if we were to throw something in, it's not going anywhere because we don't have any cells unlocked right now. So let's go ahead and unlock our stone cell. We throw this in. It's going to shoot up here. You can see the shulker going. And then we're also going to get some note blocks playing. And everything ended up down here, and then we can just deactivate it. Now that is manual input, but what about items coming from the farms? We can't have a shulker coming in here going, oh, which cell do I belong to? Oh, this one. Okay, let me just activate this. Okay, let me just hop into the water stream. We can't do that. Or can we? That is where the upgrade came into be. So this is version 3, I believe. The third version of this farm that I created. And this up here is all my design and some of the logic as well. This is the 4th version and hopefully the final version as well. But let's quickly go ahead and look at this area. So just like we're using the key system to request items, we're also going to be using the key system to deliver items. And the way that we're going to be doing that is with shulkers. Not just normal shulkers, we are going to be putting a tag on this. Think of it like an address. The farms have a certain address, a certain postal zip code, and that's going to be implemented on the shulker, and the bulk storage is going to be able to read that and know exactly where it came from. So over here, this is a iron farm that Scott and I are making. Right now it just has one layer just to test to see if it works. So far we haven't had any villagers unlink from their beds, which I know is a common concern, but I haven't had that issue. So I think we're going to go ahead and build this up like 6 more layers or something like that. But at the bottom, we then have 2 shulker loaders and autocrafters, one for iron blocks and one for bone meal blocks. And before we have the shulkers pick them up, we need to be able to tag one of these shulkers, and that's where these systems come in. So if I go ahead and, yeah, let's just empty this. We have an empty shulker box. This is the tagger. Tagger. I hardly know her. Shut up. No, I don't really know what to call this right now. We'll just call it the encoder or the tagger right now. So what's going to happen is we place our shulker in this barrel, and in this barrel we have our unique items, whichever named items represent this farm. What's going to happen is once we place in our shulker, it's going to be dispensed and placed right here. There's then going to be a quick pulse that unlocks these hoppers and allows 1 iron ingot to enter. After a short delay, then this piston fires and the shulker is broken. So we can see that if we throw in this empty shulker, it dispenses, quickly breaks, and as you can see, it has 1 item in it, which is perfect. That's exactly what we need. And then this will sit right on top of, yeah, this system right here, this hopper line, and then these shulkers will be fed into the shulker loader over here. So there's always going to be 1 item, and then the rest of this is going to be filled up with iron blocks. Now that is to tag it. However, we need to then find a way how to read that tag, to read the address over at the storage system. And we can do that with this design, which is exactly the opposite of what's going on over here. So we're going to place the shulker in this hopper. It's going to dispense it up here, right there. And then this is going to, yeah, fire a tick, enough for the hopper to drag out 1 item and only 1 item. And then after a short delay, the piston fires and breaks it. So we can test this by just throwing in a bunch of blocks, and only the iron ingot will be pulled out. So we can go ahead and do that right now. Just like so. It gets dispensed, it's broken, and as you can see, we run into our first problem. It sinks inside the hopper, which means we're going to get a lot of losses, and we don't want that. However, if we look inside of this, it did work. All of our items are still here. We're only missing the iron ingot, and the iron ingot is right here. So I went ahead and I designed version 2 of this, which is a little bit more, yeah, I just moved things around. So if we put our tag back in here, yeah, so now the piston's on the side, so it's going to push the shulker onto the ice block and past the hopper. And I don't think the shulker is going to be able to fall into the hopper itself because everything happens so quick. I'll have to kind of test this and use this several times just to make sure, but so far this design does seem to work. So if we go ahead and throw this in, the shulker then gets spit out on this side. As we can see, all the items are still here, and the iron is in this hopper right here, which is perfect. So we have the tagging machine, the encoder, over here at our specific farms. We'll have several farms in this area. Everything will then be sent by a water stream, so we just need a shulker. We don't need an encoder or a decoder or several bus lines going everywhere because the shulker itself is now encoded. So let's then fly over here, and as you can see, we built the second version over here under this ice stream. So yeah, the items are going to come down here, the shulker is going to be spat out on this top line, and the tagged item will then be shot down over here. What's going to happen is we have a very simple impulse SV item sorter, and these are then going to have our tags in them. So in this first one, as you can see, I already started testing with an observer, so we're going to use that as our tag. It's then going to, yeah, unlock. Yeah, as the item filter then unlocks itself, it's also going to power this note block, which is going to push this item in this dropper over to this dropper, which is going to pull up this piston, and the signal is not going to be able to reach. So for example, if we were to just move this button over so we can see that properly, if I click this, it comes up, but as you can see, the signal is no longer able to come through. This is depowered, which means that this hopper is now unlocked, so it can now accept any item. So yeah, now we have this so we can do it as a player and automatically from the farms. Oh, I didn't click that right. There we go. And so yeah, that's that. we can't use this at the same exact time as an item is being dispensed. That's one thing I still need to work out, but that's a future me problem. So we can actually test this now. Let's actually test an item that doesn't work, that doesn't have a filter, which is the iron ingot. This is perfect. So if we go ahead and throw on our hitboxes so we can easily see this, we can throw this in. As you can see, the hopper comes in, falls down, and here's the item. None of the item sorters are able to find it, so it just continues on, which means that the shulker goes all the way to the end because none of the cells were unlocked. Now let's go ahead and throw in a filter, a tag that we already have pre-programmed, and that is the observer. Observer, I hardly know her. Go away, stop making these stupid jokes. Alright, so let's go ahead and throw this in. As you can see, the shulker goes down, the item got picked up. As you can see, this is pulled up, and the shulker is then going into the system. This is all depowered, and in a few seconds, it all locks itself again. And if we come over here into our storage, nothing is here. Now we have 2 droppers facing into this, what is this? Dispenser. But if we click this 2 times, 1 and again, it pops out, and all of our items are right here. We will always have this one item empty, but that's fine. But this is awesome. And then our filter ends up, or I mean our tag ends up in this hopper line right here, which we can then use, either store it here or we can send it back to the farm. We'll probably send it back to the farm so everything's automatic. But yeah, this is awesome. It works. I spent so fucking long trying to figure this out. This is amazing. We still need to figure out a few things, like for example, maybe a queue. So if multiple farms are sending items, we want them to, kind of wait until one item is sorted and then it lets the next one in. That should be fairly simple. However, the main difficult part of this is figured out, and that's such a freaking good feeling. I'm so happy. So yeah, I need to go ahead and now continue this for the 4 sections. We're gonna have 4 on each side. That's gonna be what? There's 7 in each and 4. That's 28 cells per side. So that should be plenty of bulk storage for us. So yeah, we also have a few more logic systems. I'm not going to bore you guys with that, but yeah, that's just other types of logic gates and stuff like that, just in case if something happens, this is able to detect that and so on. But as you can tell, I'm using a lot of redstone. I went through so much redstone. I got some redstone as a gift from another player, but I also ran out very, very quickly. And so I went ahead and I created a witch farm. So if we go ahead and just warp to our witch, boop, 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 and there we go. We are in the witch farm. And as you can see, it's a vanilla witch farm. There are some witch farms on the server, but they're from the spawners that you're able to win. However, they are slow. Compared to this, they are frickin' slow. I mean, this is amazing. We get about 8,600 items per hour, which is pretty good. And then of course with the looting sword, the looting 5 sword and super luck, we're able to get over 1,000 items per hour, which is absolutely insane. But yeah, we're just using the simple witch farm, the shifting floors. It's actually pretty dark. Let me put on my night vision real quick. Boom. As you can see, yeah, we're using the shifting floors. So the witches spawn here. As you can see, they're right there. Bonjour. Ow. And then these floors are going to shift back and forth because soul sand is, again, 1 pixel lower. They're going to glitch into it and fall into the next platform, fall again, and then get shot up a water elevator all the way to the kill chamber. But yeah, by then activating the farm, we just push this lever, which is going to connect the wall, and that sends an instant pulse all the way to the bottom, like so. Yeah, as you can see, the floors are now shifting back and forth, so the witches are then going to fall down. And then, yeah, we also have, we can't see it, because it's inside the farm and I don't have my free cam anymore. However, there is also a few magma blocks down there, so the witches take damage, and because they're taking damage, they then classify as a different mob entity. and because of that, more witches are able to spawn faster. But they just come up this elevator, they fall right here, and then we can just go ahead and kill them. Like so. If we accidentally pick up any items, we can throw it on the stairs and it will get picked up by a hopper. And then all the items are spat around up here. I tried to have just a normal item filter, but with the Palea sword with looting 5 and super luck 3, we were getting so many items that it wasn't able to keep up. So yeah, whenever like a stack of redstone comes in here, it's then just gonna make a few rounds and then it's gonna slowly trickle into the item filters. Every item filter also then has a auto crafter down here. No, up here. These are the auto crafters for redstone and for glowstone, so we're then converting them instantly into blocks. And then gunpowder, I believe we're also keeping, glass bottles we're keeping, and yeah, then glowstone blocks and redstone blocks. And then we also have a non-stackable filter here to filter out all the potions, because I don't want to keep those. We're also filtering out sticks, getting rid of those, getting rid of sugar, and getting rid of spider eyes, because I have other farms for those, and I don't need those. So yeah, they're just getting dispensed into a cauldron of lava right there. But yeah, I already took out some redstone, so it's empty right now. I need to do some more AFKing. However, here, if we look in here, yeah, we're already getting like, what, this is 9, 10 and a half stacks of redstone blocks. I mean, this is perfect. Oh, this is amazing. Yeah, this is definitely going to cover all of our redstone projects. It's definitely an addiction, but now we can fund it. And voila. Yeah, a lot of things changed. We made a lot of progress over here at the Corrupted Chunks. Yeah, right off the bat, the iron farm has expanded and it is looking snazzy. Did a little bit of decorating, not really sure what to do with it. Right now it kind of has this industrial cyberpunk kind of ish feel to it, but yeah, I like it. It's producing a lot of iron so far, which is pretty cool. I also added a data pack for the sky. I do like the colors, the blue and the pink, purple, magenta, whatever. However, yeah, not quite sure about the stars. They're kind of big and blotchy, but yeah, we'll test it out for now. And yeah, everything is hooked up. We have the decoders and encoders for the honey blocks and the iron, and we started adding the main storage system back here. But this sorter design is by Mazuma Games. I will go ahead and link that design in the description below. I did use one of the older designs in Cyphercraft. This one is a little bit faster and does have a few more things built in. And yeah, it's almost ready. I still am finishing up all the filters and I'm adding some more redstone components to it. But yeah, basically what's going to happen is we have our input chest right here. It is a trap chest, so if we throw something in here, it's going to stay in here until we close the chest. And we have an option here to either go straight up and into the sorter system, or we can also toggle it to go down first and go into our bulk sorter system. And so yeah, we have that option, which is nice. Then we can, for example, if we have stone, we can then send the stone directly into shulker loaders and then into the stone section. But it's also nice to have stone up here so we can craft it into stairs and slabs and just have stone on us. But of course, as always, this has a shulker unloader. So after a long project, we can just throw in all of our shulkers. They will unload, all the items will then get put into the loading queue and get sorted, and then the shulkers will end up over here. And then yeah, we also have a shulker loader over on this side. So what's going to happen is the items are going to come in and the system is going to detect that, and the minecart is going to pick up one item. That item is then going to be basically a key, and so it's going to find the appropriate key. It's then going to unlock this slice and allow those items to then filter into the appropriate chest wall then. I'm not good with explaining, so I hope that made sense. Basically, everything that is in these chests will then be filtered into these individual slices, so we can have multiple items, which is very, very nice. And then we also have some extra redstone over here on the sides because we are working with minecarts. So whenever the minecarts are running, we do not want to unload this area. Normally, I would build a chunk loader that's only running whenever the machine is running. However, on this server, it is not allowed. So instead, I built an off switch. So yeah, right now you can see it. This is depowered, so if any signal were to come through here, it would be able to power the minecart. However, if we come in here and we activate this lever, it's going to go ahead and pause the system, like so. And now if we fly up here, you can see this is now powered, which locks this comparator. So now if a signal comes through, the minecart is not going to get powered and the entire system is now paused, which means that no moving entities are going to be moving around. We can now leave the area and nothing is going to break. And then whenever either I or Damon come back to this area, we can come over here, re-unlock this, those will depower, and then the system will continue to load everything that was in the loaded queue. But yeah, that's a very, very quick and brief overview of this. I mean, this is way more complicated than that, but like I said, if you want to see how this works, definitely watch the original video. And then yeah, right now I'm just building all of the shulker box loaders. I'm going to use a different design because I don't think this is going to be the most efficient. And then I also need to make a tagging system because I think what I'm going to do, this is still the old system, we still need to tear this out and replace it with the new system over here. That this one has the built-in tagging system. So then that way down here we can then be able to tell which item is which and then properly load it into bulk storage, which sounds complicated, but I think it should be fairly easy. Hopefully. I hope. I don't know. But yeah, and then Damon came over here and he has been doing the interiors, and oh man, I'm loving this vibe. It's going for like this corrupted, scientific, nature-y vibe, mystical, I don't know. Oh, this is cool. We need to get some of those plants, the little things with the firefly things, firefly bushes. Oh man, that would be cool. Oh, and the sky. Oh, it looks so much better than the normal end sky. Nah, this is cool. Oh man, I can't wait to see what the rest of the place is gonna look like with this like biopunk vibe going off. I was thinking maybe we could have some hallways going off to the sides, maybe we can have some art rooms and stuff, and then maybe some allocated hallways for like armor and stuff. And then yeah, then with all of this storage, we still need to figure out what block should go where. And then yeah, there should be plenty, like for all the bulk. This is definitely more than enough, I would think. But for these sections then, these will be for all the materials that the farms need, and then they'll be able to automatically pick these up. So yeah, I think we'll be good. Ah yeah, that's better. Bonjour. I got some upgrades. Yeah. I've been sneaking some redstone dust after shifts, and yeah, I don't have a problem. You have a problem. It's fine. We don't talk about it. However, I've made some progress, and it's broke. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'm so sad. So this side and this side works perfectly fine the way it's supposed to. However, the issue comes to this side over here. For whatever reason, there's a glitch with the minecart. So how it's supposed to work is that the minecart comes up here, sits on the rail, then once it drops off its items, it gets power, glitches through the chest. Since the chest is less than a block, it falls down onto this rail and then continues on its way. This works for that side. It works for that side over there. It does not work for this side, which I do not know why. That's a north-south, this is a south-north, and it doesn't work. So yeah, for example, let's just go ahead and just show you what happens. If we get rid of this, you can see this is going to get sent off. the minecart's gonna come through, and yeah, it gets stuck. For whatever reason, it gets stuck in the middle of the block. You can see like 1 pixel is still on this block right here, and I don't know why this is happening. There's some kind of momentum problem. I've gotten rid of this chest here. Like if I go ahead and just remove this completely, it just completely stays there because it's still on top of this block. I've also gone ahead and I've changed this for a different rail. I've also gone ahead and like put the rail up here. I've tried to change this around, kind of tried to reorient this, but I have no idea. I've had other players come over to try to figure this out. However, I think this is a server thing because we also have the same exact design over here on this side, and it works perfectly fine. And we have the same orientation and same direction right here, and it works flawlessly. There's hasn't been a single time where this has broken. So I'm not sure what's happening. This is not in a chunk border. If I throw up my F3G, like this is not in the middle of a chunk border or anything, but for whatever reason, it's not getting enough oomph or something. I've also gotten rid of this and tried to move everything around, but yeah, I'm stumped. I've been trying to figure this out for like 10 hours. It doesn't work. Why? Now, I do know that this server does have some different plugins, so I mean, there could be like one of those that's messing with this, but then why is that messing with this one and not those two? Why are those always working, but this one never works? I don't understand that. So yeah, so we have half of a sorter system. We have this wall and we have this wall that works, but I'm greedy. I want this wall. I need this wall. I'm a raccoon. I steal a lot of materials. I need more storage. So I'm not quite sure what to do. I think I'm just gonna leave it for now and then try to figure it out later. But yeah. However, yeah, despite that, we still got a lot done. We got all of the bulk storage and at least 2/3 of the main storage complete. Yeah, I still need to figure out that part. However, I still consider that a success. But I do know that it was a very redstone heavy project and a very explanatory video. I do apologize for that. It's just this type of project is very... yeah, you have to think like 5 steps ahead because there's a lot of planning involved. But I think the majority of the planning is done. Now it's just the repetitive building parts. And then once we get all of this done, it should be quite straightforward after this part. We just have to iron out all of the details and all of the issues. And then once we do that, I'm sure we're going to find so many more bugs that we're going to have to figure out. But then we can start getting to the more fun things of building like the redstone factory, which I think is going to be really fun, doing all the automation, which I think is going to be quite a challenge, but also fun in their own rights, and doing all kinds of that stuff, which yeah, should be a lot more interesting than this stuff. There's still so much work to be done over here. But yeah, if you guys have any ideas of farm designs or other things that we could put over here in the corrupted grid, definitely let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you made it this far into the video, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care.